Right, great. Once again, thank you for joining Side Class tonight. And we are 10 minutes late. It's supposed to be a 1 hour class, but we're 10 minutes late already. So we'll be starting right away. And I really want to welcome you all. And tonight we'll be looking into a very, very interesting yet dreaded topic by most nursing students in nursing school, in post-basic nursing school, in Department of Nursing or university. What we are going to be considering tonight is one of the most dreaded things. Like when student nurses hear it, they are like almost running away or they are thrown off balance. Like, "Oh God, how am I going to do this? I don't even want to come near it." And trust me, tonight you're going to be dissecting and really, simplifying these concepts to us. This class is going to be most beneficial to people that are in their final years and are maybe about to commence their research project or they commenced their research project. So it's going to be very, very beneficial to you. And although I'm not here alone tonight, I have someone in our midst. I'll do the introduction later. So as a means of introduction for tonight's class, last year between the month of September and between the month of August and November last year, 2021, I was able to review over 30 research projects of student nurses from universities, Department of Nursing in universities, from School of Nursing, from post-basic schools. And while reviewing this research work, one of the things I discovered was that a lot of nursing students have challenges with certain areas or certain concepts or certain things that are very key to the success of a research project. For instance, some people does not know how to write their abstract. There's a lot of confusion about, okay, how do I just write my abstract? Is it 4 paragraphs? What should I put in my first paragraph and all? Some people have issues, picking and crafting a researchable topic. Now, you will hear student nurses say, I submitted this research topic to my supervisor and the supervisor rejected it. I don't know what to do again. I don't know where to get research topic. I don't know how to get this. What do I do? How do I go about it? This is another challenge. Another thing is, even after getting a well-crafted researchable topic, some people does not know what to do next. Okay, the chapter one, where do I start from? What's the meaning of background? What's the meaning of introduction? How do I craft my research question and what was the difference between research question and research problem? A lot of questions. Some people even does not know how to locate resources for their research work. Even when some people locate research resources, when they locate their resources, some people does not even know how to extract content from that resources and apply it directly to their research work. Now, these are the challenges I've noticed. Another very common challenge is in your referencing. A lot of people have challenges with this referencing. Referencing is a very, very big challenge that I've discovered. For some nursing students who have to correct and correct and correct. You have to teach and teach and teach. Okay, this is how to go about it. You put comma here, you put full stop here, and all those things. They are challenges, and they tend to destabilize students in when the exam is getting close. The thing is, as a student, when your exams are getting close, your final exam, you are supposed to dedicate a larger percentage of your time to prepare and really study hard for the exam. But imagine someone just maybe getting their research work together, someone just finished analysis and about to start a referencing in a week to final exam. I've seen a student that submitted the research work a day to final exam. Like, like 48 hours to the exam, to nursing and midwifery council exam, a student was still running helter skelter. Oh, how do I do this? Hey, my supervisor has counseled this. I don't know what to do. 48 hours to exam when you're supposed to be settled and and just sit with your book, study, do your revisions and all. These things can be very destabilizing, can be very, and then it can be very stressful. Yeah, truthfully, research can be abstract. Research could be abstract. It could look so difficult at some points, but side class is here for your rescue tonight. Side class is here for your rescue. Tonight in side class, we're going to be dissecting, you're going to be examining, you're going to be looking at the nitty-gritty of getting your research project right. Is someone excited? If you are excited and you know this class is going to benefit you, just show some excitement in the chat box. Just show some excitement in the chat box. This tonight's class is really going to, open your eyes, and you're going to see a lot of things you don't know about research projects. And like I said earlier, I am not alone in tonight's class. I am not alone. Yeah, I'm going to be taking some part of the class, but tonight with me, I have a guest in class tonight, a guest lecturer. Yeah, I'll call him a guest lecturer. He's a research guru. Yeah, when it comes to research project, this gentleman, this is a nurse. Don't be surprised. He's a registered nurse too. He's a guru in research when it comes to both nursing research, research in any form, not only nursing research, even beyond nursing, any form of research, bring it. They are there. He's a research guru. Some of us know him, some of us do not know him. Don't worry. Don't worry, he's here for us tonight, and he's going to be, dissecting a lot of things. He's going to be showing us a lot of things. And really, the goal of this class is to not to come here and speak some jargons and some add research words and all. The goal of tonight's class, research is already hard and abstract on its own. So why we are here tonight is we want to simplify research for you. We want to break it down. We want to make it easy for you to understand. We want to those concepts that look abstract. As much as possible tonight, we're going to be opening it up for us in a way that you can easily understand it. And my guest tonight, trust me, don't worry, by the time you start speaking, you will understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'll go right away to my guest. Is a registered nurse in Nigeria, and okay, guess where? A registered nurse in Nigeria, and the first answer gets a giveaway. The first answer gets a giveaway. Is a registered nurse in Nigeria, and just type it in the chat box. The first answer gets something. Nigeria RN and dash RN. The first answer in the chat box gets something. I'm waiting. 5 seconds more. But nobody wants to win my giveaway tonight. Okay, I think someone responded already. Yeah, Oluwatobi said UK. So Oluwatobi is a winner of my giveaway tonight. So don't worry, I'll see you after the class. So our guest tonight is a registered nurse in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom. And much more than that, is an excuse me, please. Okay, our guest tonight is an emergency room practitioner and an ambulatory nurse in Oxford University. And as a matter of fact, he is an intern at Oxford Biomedical Research Center. Did you hear that? Did somebody hear that? He is a research intern at Oxford Biomedical Research Center, the great Oxford University, the great Oxford Research Center. Now we have one of their interns here in our midst tonight, to break research done for us. And our guest is no other person than Nurse Adeyemi Olagunju. Nurse Adeyemi Olagunju, popularly, politically, religiously, everythingly known as Yemi Combine. Some of us are very, very familiar with that name, while some of us are not. Nurse Olagunju Adeyemi, we are glad to have you here tonight.
Hi guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, sir. I'm so excited to have you in class tonight. Like, really, I think I even have to pick my own pen and my notes to start, putting down some things tonight. See, I'm here with my notes, a fresh note, actually. I'm going to take a lot of notes tonight. I know I'm in for something.
To learn stuff from you.
I'm in for something huge tonight, really. You're welcome, sir. It's a privilege to have you in class tonight. It's a privilege. The privilege. Thank you so much, sir. So before you go into the lecture, I would just like to ask. I highlighted some challenges when we start. Do you think these challenges is true, and do you think there are issues that could be addressed?
Yes, you're very correct. With the many people find research to be this like mystical, mysterious thing that it's reserved for some certain people. Like it's just for people that are research oriented, or for people that have extraordinary brains or something. But that's not true. And then hopefully in 1 hour or less, we can demystify some of the certain concepts.
Yeah, I trust we're going to be able to do that in 1 hour. Yeah, thank you so much. Really good to have you in. So I think we just have to go right away into the lecture. So knows Adeyemi Olagunju, we are in class already. Our students are ready with our notes and our jotter.
Awesome.
You can have the stage, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm going to put a question in the chat box, and I'd like everyone to respond as soon as you see it, please. Host, can you enable screen sharing, please, so I can share?
All right. Right away.
Thank you.
All right, please go ahead and share your screen, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Yep. So just tell me if you can see my screen in the chat box and also hear my voice.
Okay, yeah, I can see your screen, sir, and I can hear your voice.
Okay, if I'll just take a look at the people in the chat. I'll just call one random person. Grace Temitope, can you tell me what you can see on your screen, please?
Okay, good evening, everyone. So I'm seeing nursing research.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. My screen is visible then. Thank you very much. So right away, we're going to dive right in. If you have any questions midway, please just raise your hand or put the question in the chat box and let us just respond as soon as possible. I'm going to start my timer now. So it's 8:25 now. And so in less than 1 hour, I should be done, hopefully. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so the class requirements for this class is that you must have passed English language and biology in your WAEC exam. If there's anyone here that hasn't written WAEC yet, then this class, you might find it a little bit difficult, just a little bit. But if you've written WAEC and biology in WAEC, then you shouldn't have issues with joining this class. 1 second, just want to see if I can take it. Host, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, I can hear you.
Yes, if there is any question in the chat box, please call my attention to it so I can take a look at it. I'm kind of like using a full screen for the presentation now, so perhaps I'll just turn on my 1 second.
All right.
I'll just share the entire screen because I think that would be better. So you can also see me and then, okay, great. So if you can see my face and you can also see the screen, say I.
We can
Okay.
see the screen and you.
Okay. I would like the class to be as interactive as possible. So let's try to respond to the prompts. You can unmute your mic. That's fine. Okay, I can see something in the chat box. Okay. Hi, Adiola. It's good to see you. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so the overview of what we'll be doing today is that we want to know what research is and what research is not. We're going to determine the steps required in the research process. We are going to distinguish between quantitative and qualitative research. We are going to understand that these are our goals for the class tonight, and then we know what resources are available to support research. And then we're going to consider a draft research question and study that question. And maybe you can bring your research question if you've got time. Research project, and then if you've got time. We're also going to I'm going to point you to resources that you can use if you're looking for content or materials for your research work, because I get a lot of messages around requesting for research work, and I'm going to show you where I look to get some of them also. Yeah, so moving on. I want at least maybe 3 or 4 people to tell me, what are your gut feelings about taking this class? Are you excited? Are you full of dread? Are you fearful? Are you curious? Are you angry that you're here, or you're ready for this whole thing to just be over? You can put it in the chat box.
As for me, sir, I think I'm excited. I'm curious. Perhaps I'm angry.
Oh, I can see Rejoice can say that. Rejoice is saying she's curious. Grace said she's excited and curious. I'm also curious. Excited, nice. I'm also excited. Okay, great. We've got 60% excited and then about 40% curious. So great. So we are both excited and curious. Ibukuma Midu Titan says to everyone that he or she is gladly calm. Nice. That's really strange. Okay, so moving on. So I want you to think about this for later in the discussion. So there is a philanthropist that you know. He puts a notice on your school's notice board or your work notice board, and then the person said she's going to donate 200 million naira to fund a nursing study for a deceased mother who was cared for by wonderful nurses, and she's asking you for suggestions. What one study would you suggest? You can put it in the chat box. We can also discuss it later if that's okay, if you've got time. Arrow Joyo Root Coin Solar, apologies for saying it that way. You're curious. Nice. So think about this question you can see on your screen right now. Somebody is willing to fund a nursing study with 200 million naira because she was cared for by wonderful nurses. And she's asking you for suggestions. What one study would you suggest to that person? What would you like to work on? What research work would you like to tell that person, hey, let's work on this? Or do you think it's going to be cancer? Do you think it's going? I was having a discussion with somebody about this particular question just a couple minutes ago, and then the person said cancer, and I thought cancer is nice. But what would you suggest? What one study would you suggest? Think about it. If you have an answer right now, put it in the chat box. If you don't, then we'll talk about it later. So next, one of the barriers to research is that it seems to be like a secret stuff, like it's a secret that is kept guarded, like it's only a club of scholars, nerds, geeks that are able to understand them, and they are too complex for people to learn. And it's like it's only a set of people that should be doing research. People find most research like troublesome in school. Well, I don't want to give false or vague statistics now, but many people do find research too complex and too difficult sometimes. But I'm here to tell you tonight that it's not difficult. It just requires patience and a little bit of hard work, and that's it. So what is research? We're just going to do it like a light surface stuff. The root meaning of research is to search again, research or examine carefully, systematically. Systematically is important. Should I highlight that? I would underline it. Systematically is important because it follows a process. So there's a process to do research. We would investigate that later. And then it means to search, it means to prove. To prove means to validate. To validate means to show me what you know, what you have discovered about research and what you don't know, that is generating new knowledge. If I'm speaking too fast, please put in the chat box. If you've got questions, put it in the chat box so we don't waste too much time. Yeah. Okay, so much like the nursing and scientific process, research follows the scientific process, the nursing process. Many of us are familiar with the API, which is and pie in many places. That is not the UK. It's API, that is to assess, to plan, to implement, and evaluate. So in research, you assess what is known and what is not known, and then you assess what's in question. You plan how you want to do the study. If you are nursing a patient, for instance, that's got gastroenteritis, patients got gastroenteritis, how would you assess the patients? You want to assess the patient cephalocaudally, from the head to the toe. Then you pay attention to the gastrointestinal system, the stomach and the nails and all of that stuff. And then you plan your care for the patient, right? And then you implement, you follow your care, and then you evaluate the results you've gotten with your care. But you also have to publish or tell people what you've gathered. You have to talk to the team, the medical team, the nursing team, the physiotherapy team, the GI team, the surgery team about what you've discovered. Okay, the speed is fine, sir. So much value. Awesome. Thank you very much for that feedback. So research is similar to nursing process and the scientific process because you assess, you plan, you implement, and you evaluate. I'm going to give a bit of a pause here. So if you've got questions, I'm just going to take a look at them in the chat box. And if there's any, we move. Right? Great. No questions. Awesome. So introduction to nursing research. Already discussed this, that is the application of the scientific method to areas of interest in nursing, because in nursing or medicine or whatever, you study people, you don't study inanimate stuff, because you know, nursing research is a bit different because people do not behave consistently as objects or chemicals do in a laboratory. We've got about 14 people here, and then we've got other people probably listening somewhere else or listening via proxy. And you can say for a fact that people do not behave the same way, right? So that's just it. So what's expected of you in research? You are required to either add to the body of knowledge that is already there, or to reinforce or to substantiate previous studies. Reinforce or substantiate is just like to further prove what somebody has worked on, or you are bringing an entirely new idea to your own, to that niche. Like for instance, if someone could just put a bit of an example on the screen in the chat box about, okay, we'll do that later. So that's what is expected of you in nursing research, yeah? And then there are some limitations to research, of course, because research cannot answer all questions, because there are moral issues, there are ethical issues. So research cannot answer all. It is not all answering, it is not all knowing. And all things are not measurable, or good tools are not available. Examples of things that are not available, that are not measurable. Who can give examples of things that are not measurable? Okay, things that are measurable. What are the things that you can measure that are measurable? Say in nursing research, I would take a wild guess that many of the people that are in these forums are either medical doctors or nurses. So research, I can't say
example is knowledge.
Knowledge is not measurable. Why? Knowledge is measurable, knowledge is not measurable. But there are tools like the intelligence quotient, like IQ, but it doesn't really measure knowledge like the way you would want. People can be measured. Of course, you can measure physiological variables like someone's blood pressure, someone's temperature, someone's weight, anthropometric data. You can measure things like that. But can you give an accurate measure of someone's emotions? Can you measure anger? Can you measure hunger? Can you measure? Yeah, Oluwatobi Akin, thank you so much. Love is not measurable. Love is not measurable because I don't think there are any tools to measure love. Are there yardsticks? Are there tools to measure love? This is interesting. Love. Statistics may show significance, but in the real world, they may not really be important. And that's when you see things like clinical significance, clinical judgment. For instance, the BLS protocol says that if somebody is, for instance, so this is not a fact, I'll keep reiterating that, for instance, so you walk into somebody's room and then you call on the person is not listening to you, right? And then you shout in the person's ear, person is still not answering. You shake the person, no response. You check whether the person is breathing, no breath sounds, nothing, the chest is not rising, the chest is not falling. Then you start CPR. That's what the basic life support algorithm tells you, right? But the thing is that, what if you travel to some place like China, where there are monks that have practiced some type of yoga that they can slow their breathing to, say, 2 cycles per minute. And then, so definitely the chest is not rising and it's not falling, so you can't feel anything. And then maybe, for instance, for some reason, you can't feel their pulse because they are wearing thick clothing. Would you start CPR in that instance? I'm just giving an example, like that's a very wild one, but you get the gist. So moving on. Oh my goodness. Somebody's laughing. These words look really big. They look really big, but please be patient. They're not big. Yes, Lola said passion, commitment, they aren't measurable. Thank you for that, because you can't, how do you measure? What tool is available? Do you use the numerical pain scale to measure passion? Of course not. What scales do you use to measure passion and commitment? I don't know. If there is anybody that knows, put it in the chat box and then we'll learn together. So there are some paralyzing vocabulary that are used in research. We're just going to look at 4 of them: theoretical framework, conceptual framework, sampling, setting. We wouldn't go really deep into this because this is an introductory class and we cannot exhaust, let me say that now, we cannot exhaust research, like the entirety of research at this point, because 1 hour is not enough. Fear is not measurable. I'm sure if you search online, you're going to find something about measuring fear, passion, commitment. But of course, they're not conventional. And that's exactly what we are saying, that we cannot generalize things that are found in places and then say, okay, so let's look at theoretical framework, for instance. Okay, before I go on, I don't know if there is anybody to signify in the next 3 seconds that want to tell me what they know about theoretical framework. I would appreciate it so much. So let's build a baseline for our knowledge tonight. Or else I'm going to call somebody randomly. Money, more. Or should we do it alphabetically? Theoretical framework, let's see. The last person on my screen is Arojojoye Ruth Konyosola, and then the first person on my screen is Cyclass. So the second person is me, third person is Rejoice. So it's either going to be Rejoice or Ruth Konyosola. So who wants to go? Tell me what you know about theoretical framework. If you don't know, that's fine. That's totally fine. Okay, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Rejoice is not answering. Konyosola, would you like to help?
Okay.
Good evening. I can hear
you. It's just like a theory that supports a research work.
Right. Who just spoke? I didn't catch the person who spoke just now. Who just answered that question?
That's going to
There's a prize for answering that question. I think there is a 10,000 naira prize for answering that question by my calculation. Who answered the question?
Actually, Sabine said I did.
Who did?
I answered the
Who did? I
question.
need to note the name of the person that answered.
Okay,
Okay, I wrote Joy. So 10,000 naira for you already in this class. So next question might attract this some too, but let's move on. So conceptual framework next, right? Okay, let's move on to theoretical framework, then we can dwell on conceptual frameworks. Oh, two people are raising their hands. Ibukum Amidu, Titan. Can you please speak? Okay, it was a mistake. Lola has her hands, has his or her hand raised. Can you speak, please?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, the theoretical framework
Yeah.
is like the overall structure that backs the theory that we are actually going through. So it shows us the step-by-step guide that I don't want to say that guides the theory that we are using for our research process, actually. So how we collect the samples, how we put them together, the choice of the choice of the material we're going to be using to collect our samples from prospect and everything.
Nice, really nice. Because you answered second now, it will be 5,000 naira for you. Is that okay? Okay, so moving on. Theoretical framework consists of two words, right? We've got theories and then we've got a framework. So theories are concepts formulated to explain, predict, and understand stuff. We all know that, right? Wait, don't let me make the assumptions. You know what theories are? For instance, you know, Florence Nightingale has one theory like that. That's called the environmental theory that says if the environment is clean, then somebody's able to be nice, right? Yes. And then that's an example of a theory. So there are concepts that are formulated to explain. They are proven also, predict and understand stuff. And then a framework is like a skeleton, a frame, a structure that is designed to support stuff, right? And so what the theoretical framework does is that it introduces and describes the theory that explains why the research problem under study exists. I would explain that, but I would just like to confirm, can everybody still see my screen? Host, can you still see my screen?
Yeah, sure, I can see it.
Okay, great.
Theoretical framework.
Great, yeah. So there are no fixed rules to structuring a theoretical framework. And you may decide to put it in the literature review or put it in an entirely different chapter. There are no fixed rules for structuring a theoretical framework. And if, except maybe if your supervisor or your nursing preceptor says, put it in this format. 1 second, please. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of interruption from my dogs. Anyways, so you may decide to put a theoretical framework inside your literature review, or you may decide not to put it in your literature review. You can put it in a separate chapter. That's fine, because there are no fixed rules, except your supervisor, nursing preceptor, your lecturer says, okay, this is the way I want it, because you know, nursing school, universities, department of nursing can be really crazy. Yeah, anyways, so but you have to write and give it in a very clear and logical structure, right? Are we still following? Great. So there's some prompts to writing theoretical frameworking. So prompts to theoretical frameworking. So you can start with saying like, this study is anchored on so and so. This study is supported by, this study is founded on the theory that says that the theoretical framework underpinning the study is the Dorothea Orem self-care deficit theory, or is the, please somebody give me examples of theories that you know. Like, give me like theory. I want to see like theories flowing out of your head, like rivers of living waters. I'm waiting now. Examples of theories. I can't see anything now. Okay, anyways, we'll move on. So, no examples. So, where are we? So this is an example of a theoretical framework, right? The objective of this study, please call me back if you need clarification on any issue so far, please. Please, I don't want to move past an issue and then discover that somebody didn't get one part. Please just put it in the chat box, please. Thank you. So the objective of a particular study, this is just an example, is that the objective of this study is to disprove astronomer. Please forget all this big English, but that's the objective. And then the problem of that research work is that many astronomers believe that kinikon. And then the research question is, why does the third astral body orbiting Mars qualify as a moon? You know, this is a planetary stuff. It's like astrology, astrophysics, and blah blah blah. And then the sub questions in the research work is that. So this is the literature review in that work, and then look at the person integrating the theory by if you look at the literature review part, the part that I'm circling the mouse over, it says all theorize that since Mars moon were small and similar to asteroids than Earth moons, they may have formed blah 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 blah. In addition, he also noted, so this is somebody's theory. Somebody is basing their research work on a theory that's already existed, right? Do we get it? Okay, there's some stuff in the chat box. Yeah, Abraham Maslow's theory of basic human needs, Dorothy Orem's self-care theory. Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So so far we've got Ruth Koinsola with 10,000 naira, and then Lola with 5,000 naira. So moving on, that's an example of a theoretical framework. This is another example of a theoretical framework. And this one is a diagrammatic representation, meaning that there are diagrams drawn. It could be narrative and it could be diagrammatic, and it could be both. For instance, the first part is words, that's narrative. And then the second part is diagram. So this diagram is explaining what's written in this stuff. So that's the framework. And then look at it. You see in many nursing research work that you see, say, Dorothea Orem's. Okay, I can see some more. Ida Jean, Orlando Jean nursing process. And then Eric Erickson, yeah, really popular stuff. If you are dealing with stuff like psychology, you're dealing with people's behavior to attitudes towards things like that. You may be able to use a psychosocial theory. Yeah, so Thomasin's customer satisfaction model, that's a model that someone used to underpin. And then if you look at the last sentence on this page, it says Thomas's model is important for this study because it allows us to determine both the extent to which ex-customers are satisfied and where improvements can be made. Yeah. If you've got any questions at this point, please do well to put them in the chat box. If you are all following, I'm just going to call somebody randomly now and see. Okay, I've called the first and last people on my screen. Let's see. Oluwapelumi Emmanuel, are you there?
Good evening. I'm there. I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Can you see the screen also?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So moving on. So tell me, does anybody know anything about conceptual frameworks? Any idea at all? You can either put it in the chat box or unmute yourself and speak. There is permission to speak freely. Lola has raised hand. Lola, please speak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. You're muted. I can't hear you. Okay, Lola isn't speaking. So moving on. Or is there anybody else that would like to talk about the conceptual framework? Remember, we're talking about theoretical framework, conceptual framework, sampling and setting. On the surface level, we are not going deep into this because an hour is not enough. We've used more than 25 minutes, close to 30 minutes now. Yeah, so conceptual framework. What is a conceptual framework? A conceptual framework, oh my God, this is a lot, but try to follow me, is an explanation. Okay, there's something in the chat box. Yes, explanation of the key concepts. I really like that. Thank you very much, Adeola Adoye. Really, really, really marvelous stuff. Is an explanation, either explanation of key concepts in your research work. It is either graphic as in it could be a diagram, or it could be narrative or like written words of the main things to be studied. I'm going to try to see if I included an example in this slide. If not, I'm going to share my screen and show you an example of a conceptual framework. So it's an explanation of the, oh, okay, there's something in the chat box. Conceptual framework is generally developed based on a literature review of existing studies and theories about the topic. Yes, that is also correct. And the thing about conceptual framework is that it is used interchangeably somewhere, some places. They're not the same thing, but of course they're similar in a kind of way with theoretical framework. Or you can use the second definition, which says the actual ideas and beliefs that you hold about a phenomena that you're studying. So your own idea about something that you're studying, whether it is written down or not, is your concept. That's your concept. It's your conceptual framework, yeah? What's it? So there are three sources of conceptual framework. You can get it from your own personal experience that, okay, this is why I'm doing this. Or you can get it from literature, like maybe you read somebody else's research work and then you find a particular thing there, and then you decide to base your research work based on that concept. And then you can also get it from theory. And I put down the last part that says, although personal experience may instigate a research idea, it is not enough to use personal experience alone for your conceptual framework. You need to support it with literature, and then it must be rooted in theory. I hope we understand. I don't know if I included an example. Okay, so lastly, the third source is a theory. Okay, moving on. So an experience may prompt a conceptual framework. The literature must provide the arguments. Like there must be like a particular work. Even if you thought about it, say, do chickens cross the road on Christmas Day, for instance? That's the experience. You need to find literature. Excuse me. You need to find literature that talks about that particular studied stuff, chickens crossing the road. And then you need to find a theory that kind of like talks about the reason chickens cross roads on Christmas Day. Yeah, I hope we are following. I'm going to find an example of how a conceptual framework is written, but good sources of finding examples of conceptual framework, I would give this at the end of the class. And I would also say you should look at other people. Is somebody drawing on my screen? Rejoice, why are you laughing? Okay, nothing. Moving on. What is sampling? This is the only slide we are doing for sampling because sampling is wide, like it's really wide, and we cannot deal with sampling entirely inside this forum because sampling is, you see, random, simple, snowballing, or issue sampling. So sampling entails who and what you want to study. Thank you, Oluchi. Thank you very much. And then choosing subjects. Subjects are people, animals, whatever that using to represent a study population. For instance, if you are considering a research topic that says nurses in Nigeria, that is like really wide. There are about, how many nurses do we have in Nigeria? I think 200,000, 300,000. I'm not sure in Nigeria. So there is really no way you can distribute questionnaires to 200,000 nurses, for instance, in Nigeria. So you have to like limit your study to a particular group, to a particular subset. You cannot study nurses in, say, Lagos State alone. So perhaps you want to like limit your study to Alimosho local government or Etiosa local government. Even Etiosa local government, you know the amount of nurses that are in Lekki, VI, Ikoyi axis. So you may want to limit your study to Lekki. Even nurses in Lekki self, there are plenty. So you may want to limit your study to a street in Lekki or hospitals around the particular axis. So choosing subjects or representatives of that study population is called sampling, right? Moving on. What is a setting in research? A setting is the location of the study. And then there could be a natural setting, which is controlled, and then in real life. I'm going to put something in the group chat now. At the end of the class, if you have an answer to the meaning of this thing, there may be a prize. What is the Hawthorne effect? Yeah. So that's that question for later. Don't answer the question now. We've got 2 questions to answer at the end of the class now. The philanthropist that donated 200 million naira to do a nursing study, and then the Hawthorne effect. So you can partially control your setting, so modify it, and then you can control your setting, like make it an artificial environment, right? So moving on, those are just definitions of crazy terms, or somehow crazy terms. Now we can see that they are not crazy, right? Moving on. So the research process, especially like generally, if you Google the research process right now, like if you carry your phone and Google the research process or steps in research process, you're going to see some people list it as 5 steps. You see some people list it as 7 steps. You see some people list it as 12 steps. Even your research tutor or lecturer in school will probably list it as something else. So it's not like it's consistent like a 7 steps everywhere in the world, but it is consistent in the fact that it is still the same thing, no matter how you list it. In this one, we are looking at defining a topic. You narrow down the topic, you gather information, you create a research question, you develop a working thesis or statement, and then you look for sources. That's your literature review, right? And then you cite your sources, and then you write your paper. At the end of the day, you analyze your paper. At the end of the day, you disseminate the results. Because if you don't disseminate the results, you are just wasting time. So research usually starts with a question. So usually you see nursing students like come and say, what topic can I do? Like, can you go? And then the first thing I ask is that, what are you interested in? Right? So if you don't have interest, it is essential to develop a research question that you are interested in. It is important. So because a solid research question is like a lifeline, it's going to keep you steady during your search. And then the question that you are choosing should not be too broad, and it should not be too narrow. It should not be too broad in the sense that you want to look at the number of sickle cell patients in the world. That is impractical. Well, it's practical, but you want to say how many sickle cell patients drink 5 liters of water, at least 5 liters of water in a day. That's like really stressing a lot, especially at this stage. And it should not be too narrow, such that you are studying people in your household alone. Once you've drafted the research question to the best of your ability, then ask somebody else to look at it, or talk to your teacher, talk to your lecturer, talk to your tutors to take a look at it, and then review the topic together. So this is a checklist that I developed for anybody that is asking research questions. Is this something that you're curious about, that other people might care about? does it present an issue on which you have to take a stand? Because if you challenge many people now that on what you're working on, tell me what is the reason you are doing it. It's probably because I just want to pass. Just let me go. Pass me. I just want to leave this school. That's the reason many people are doing research. Does your research question put a new spin on an old issue? For instance, you see many people, no offense, but like amount of pregnant women attending antenatal clinic in so hospital, like that topic has suffered in this world. If I'm wrong, put it in the chat box. Is my research question is my research question too broad, too narrow, or okay? Is it researchable within the time frame? For instance, you start getting your topics around say July, September. After July is what? I think it's August. Yeah. 1 second, please. After July is August, then you get your topics in say July, and then you have to submit for Nursing Council in say November, and then you start working on your research work in September. That time frame is like too small to work on the number of pregnant women attending antenatal clinic in Obafemi Awolowo University. You are showing in my camera. Oh, sorry about that. Given the resources available at my location. So is my research question measurable? Can you find actual data? For some people look for, like I've received messages, I'll check my phone later, I'll put it in the chat box. Like research questions are so crazy that I cannot actually find information on it. For instance, give an example of a research work that can never be researched. Anything can be researched, but give an example of a research work that you may never find resources with. And then what resources would you have? Would you have access to journals, books, internet resources, government documents, interviews with people? So that's a checklist you might want to consider. I may decide if you guys would need it. Share the slide later on. Refining the topic and keywords to start, I'll just skip that. So if you are defining your research question, for instance, you have to think about the discipline that may have answers to your questions. Is it nursing, medicine that would have answers to your questions? So it is going to point you to the journals or resources that you're going to search in. If you have any questions at this point, please ask. Okay, I assume that so far that we understand all. You can put it in the chat box, unmute yourself and just speak freely. Okay. So this is an example of a research question. What is the impact of follow-up calls to assess compliance of hypertensive patients taking prescribed medications on blood pressure control? So if you're looking for resources on this topic, for instance, now, you may look for resources on hypertension, hypertensive patients, medication compliance, hypertension, things like that. So that's going to, keywords are going to help guide you into finding resources for your work. If you've got questions, please ask. Thank you for following.
Yes, sir. I would like to ask a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, most times when students come into my DM and make complaints of my supervisor said my research topic does not have dependent variable. My supervisor said the topic does not have independent variable. My supervisor said there are 3 dependent variable and 1 independent variable in my research topic, and as such, you can't accept it. And students get confused. Is dependent, which one is independent? How do I identify dependent? How do I identify independent? Can you just in maybe a minute or so just give us a clarity on the concept of dependent and independent variable? Now, taking this topic that you just put up for an example, you can just use it and explain what independent and dependent variables are. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for that question. And interestingly, variables are the next thing, I think, after this slide also. So should we consider variables and then use this question to explain it, or right now, or we should just go on to variables and start from variables in its
Okay, great. Since you have it, we can just.
Okay. So finally, about this is a criteria for getting a good research question is final. It must be feasible, it must be interesting, it must be novel. Novel as in not novel books that you read, like new, or it could be new, it doesn't have to be new. It should be ethical. You don't want to look at how well knives are effective at killing people. Like, that's not ethical, because you, for a fact, you don't actually know if knives will kill everybody that we meet. If you stab somebody 10 times, would they die? That's a good research question, but is it ethical? I don't think so. Attitude of pregnant mothers who do not eat breakfast to antenatal clinics. This looks vague and unresearchable. Yeah, it is vague, actually, because it is really vague. We'll consider that in a bit. Literature review is the next one. So let me just keep literature review. I'll skip literature review to go to variables. Okay, so variables. What are variables? Okay, moving on. Variables are measurable stuff that varies among different subjects. I already said subject could be people, could be animals, could be things that you're studying. And then the reason we study research is because variance occurs, like things are different among people. So an example is we've got independent variable, we've got dependent variables, right? So an example of an independent variable is salt intake. This is because it is independent. It can stand on its own. Salt intake is salt intake, whatever way you want to spin it. A dependent variable is blood pressure reading, right? So for a research work that you're doing, it should have an independent variable and a dependent variable, at least, because if I say blood pressure reading, now it is just like standing on its own, right? But if you add the independent variable to it, salt intake, so it could be like, what is the effect of salt intake or impact of salt intake on blood pressure reading? So in that statement, for instance, salt intake is the independent variable, blood pressure reading is the dependent variable. I'm not sure, perhaps it varies the institution or organizations about how many variables you should have in your research work, but your research work should have an independent variable and a dependent variable. I hope that's clear enough. So institutional requirements, nursing council requirements, organizational requirements may be different, but you should always have an independent variable and a dependent variable, especially research work that are descriptive and qualitative. We'll consider that one in a bit. What is a variable? The concept of a variable, it must have two or more properties or qualities. And is one related to the other? For instance, is X related to Y? Or what is the effect of salt intake on blood pressure? So if I give you a statement like, we are way past our time. If I give you a statement like the statement in the chat box currently that says attitude of pregnant mothers who do not eat breakfast to antenatal clinics, that question does it have a variable? Does it have any variable at all? I'll be waiting for your answers in the chat box. Does that question have a variable at all? The question Lola posted to everyone in the chat box, does it have any variable? I'm waiting. Who can identify the variables in that research topic? Okay, you have 10 seconds to look at it again. Okay, does. Tell me the variable. Lola, can you resend the question? Okay, Rejoice is asking, please, sir, how researchable are these topics, depression and associated factors among nursing students? First of all, among nursing students, where? In which place? And what associated factors? Why would you? It means that you have to define what associated factor is in your research work at the end of the day. And then what are you really studying? Is it the prevalence? Is it the incidence of depression and associated factors among nursing students in Alimosho local government, in Ondo State, in a school in Ondo State? So it needs to have a place because the research question is not complete at the moment. Number two of Rejoice's question is knowledge and practice of stress coping strategies among nursing students. Also, nursing students where? That's okay. Just include, let it be specific. Assessment of the knowledge of nurses, grammatical issues, but that's fine. Of the knowledge of nurses on the legal aspects of nursing. Legal aspects of nursing. Okay, great. Also, assessment of the knowledge of nursing. Yeah, great, like good one. In Ocean State. Okay, it's okay. No, you don't have to tell me the location. I'm just saying, like, okay, Lola resent the question and then she said, this looks vegan. It has variables. Yeah, it has variables. Tell me the variables, please. Both dependent and independent. Is it to Lola's question? Ruth Koinsola, can you unmute yourself? Let's talk. Let's have a chit chat.
Yes.
Yes. Which question are you responding to? Is it Lola's question? Lola's
Yes.
yes.
Attitude of pregnant motherhood do not use antenatal clinic.
Okay. Can you tell me the independent variable and the dependent variable?
Okay. Independent variable, my understanding, is the attitude, while dependent variable is the pregnant mothers.
So great. Can you explain to me how attitude and pregnant women, pregnant mothers, the relationship between them?
Okay, there are some attitudes displayed by pregnant mothers, but some are not aware of those attitudes that are they probably important to them or necessary. Or some they do it and they don't really know the effect of those attitudes on them while they are pregnant. So we have them like that, and this can be carried out as a research. Then try to get people to be aware of those attitudes they carried out and how the effect those effects has on their body and on the baby too.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I would tend. Does anybody have any other answers? Please speak. Ibukuma Meju, please go ahead. Please freely you can speak. Toby Ekin has put it very good. There's a lot of noise, Oluwatobi. Can you? So Oluwatobi Ekin said, pregnant mothers, independent variable. Breakfast, dependent variable. Wait, pregnant mothers is the independent variable, right? And then breakfast is the dependent variable. Yeah, I like that one. Ibukumamidu, please go ahead. You're raising your hand, sir. Okay. I think I tend to go with Oluwatobi's King's answer because.
Sorry.
Okay, go on, sir.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, in regards to the topic, what I would say is attitude of pregnant mothers. So that should be the independent variable. I'm just saying. Then the dependent variable will be not okay.
Okay.
Do not eat breakfast.
Right.
So now the attitude will determine if they eat breakfast or not. So eating breakfast is dependent on their attitude. So the attitude is the independent variable.
Right. Round of applause. That's really, 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 really nice. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, because I would go with Yekin's Oluwatobi's Yekin's statement, but attitude of pregnant mothers, their attitude is the where am I? I might be confused. Can you hear me?
I think the attitude of the
Can you hear me?
pregnant, yeah, the attitude of a pregnant woman. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm listening, sir. I can hear you, sir.
All right. I was saying the attitude of a pregnant woman should the attitude of a pregnant woman is dependent on whether they ate breakfast to the antenatal clinic. Now, the breakfast, whether they ate breakfast or not, will determine the kind of attitude they will put up when they get to the antenatal clinic. So their attitude is dependent on they eating or not eating breakfast. So the breakfast now is the independent variable, while the
Thank you very, very, very much. So breakfast is an independent variable in that statement because breakfast is there regardless of whether or not the pregnant women do anything or not. Breakfast is there. And then the dependent variable is their attitude in the antenatal clinic, right? So we've got an independent variable and then we've got a dependent variable in that statement. I've got two people raising their hands. 1 second, and then I just want to go through the chat and then see what we are. Please, sir, can you shed more light on variables? Okay, we are doing that at the moment. Impact of, okay, we'll consider these questions whether they are researchable or not. Ibukumamidu has his hands raised. You can speak, sir. Okay, Lola has a round. Midu speaking. Great. Ibukumamidu, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, that was a mistake, but okay, I'll just go on. In regards to what Mr. Adewumi has said, I actually misinterpreted the topic. So I thought it was attitude of pregnant woman to eating breakfast before coming for antenatal clinic. So that was what I interpreted. So it was when he said what he said or what he mentioned. So I have to go back and
read the topic. Yeah, that it was a bit confusing for me too because it felt like the regular research work, like attitude of so towards something. So I think it's exploring their attitude. While this research work looks like it's got independent and dependent variables, what tool would you use to measure? What kind of questionnaire would you use to measure attitude? Even if it's a qualitative research, Lola posted the question, what type of questionnaire would you use to measure attitude of pregnant mothers? What kind of questions would be in the questionnaire? Lola, please speak. You've had your hand raised. Lola. Okay. Moving on. I'll move on to Rejoice's question. Say, please, sir, please, can you shed more light on variables? Okay, Rejoice, what would you like to know on variables? We are currently still exploring variables.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Lola.
Yes, good evening. I'm sorry, I'm having some issues with my phone.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, actually, the question came out of the blues, and I posted it. So, looking at it, really, if I would say probably a structured interview would have been the best form of measuring it, because via the structured interview questions, you'll be able to look at the cues, which we might not be able to measure, right? Look at the cue and the gestures, and then ask them salient questions that will be specific to individual. So that's what I would say. However, my own perspective towards the question is that I don't think is the breakfast that can affect the pregnant women's attitude alone, because there are a lot of things going on. Hormones can be flaring up and it can affect their attitude. So we might not be able to really say it's the eating of the breakfast or not. So that's just my own contribution. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. The thing is, you're right about the breakfast not causing not causing their attitude, because pregnant women have a lot of hormones and stuff raging in their body. So we cannot say for sure that, okay, this is what is causing. And then since you've said that the question just came out of the blue, it's fine, because we can't say for sure, like pregnant women attitude, their attitude will just change because of, and then the question doesn't really give, like it doesn't say for sure. I don't think we would ever get to a conclusion of whether not eating breakfast affects the attitude of pregnant women, whether negatively or positively. Is that all I wrote on variables? Oh my God. Let me check my side notes. So reading from my notebook now. What's it called? Okay. Rejoice, how are you on variables at the moment? Do you think you have an idea of what variables are? Okay, let me give a question. Very popular question. Test scores. Let me put it in the chat box. Test scores. Test scores, are they a dependent variable or an independent variable? Test scores and studying. No, let me show the good grades. Studying and good grades. Which one is the dependent variable? Which one is the independent variable? Rejoice, what do you think studying is in this sentence? Is it a dependent variable or an independent variable? Remember, we said an independent variable is a presumed cause. It just stands on its own. And then a dependent variable is the presumed effect. So which one is the cause? Which one is the effect in this sentence? Okay, Blessing Daramola said good grades are dependent. Right. They are dependent. Blessing Daramola, can you unmute yourselves? Test scores independent. Great. Can you explain why good grades are dependent variables and why test scores are independent variables?
Okay, I feel good grades are dependent. No, are you saying test scores again?
No,
Good grades are
you
studying.
answered, oh, good grades and studying, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, okay. I feel good grades are dependent on studying.
Right.
So if you study well, you could have good grades.
Right.
Like,
That's better. That's really nice. Thank you very much for that explanation. Rejoice, do you get it now? Because good grades can stand on its own, but what will lead to good grades would be studying. So studying can stand on, studying is the independent variable, because studying is just a day is day. Good grades also day is day. But which one is the cause? Which one is the effect? The effect of studying is good grades, right? So studying is an independent variable, and good grades is a dependent variable, because good grade is dependent on studying, right? Cause, thank you very much for that clarification, sir. Cause is studying, effect is good grade. So cause and effect, cause and effect. I think that's the best way to explain independent and dependent variables. So variables are just things. They are things where whatever it is, it could be subject, it could be object in your research. But what's important is that, what's your variable? Is it a dependent variable or an independent variable? So variables are measurable characteristics that varies among subjects. And then we conduct research because there is variance at all times. There's always variance, because if we look at scores of part 3 nursing students, what kind of topic can we even use now? Please put examples of research work, and then we'll look at their independent and dependent variables. Agreed. Just put them in the chat box, and then we'll look at them later, because we are really running low on time. Sir, please send me a message once you want me to stop, because we cannot really explore.
The attitude is a dependent variable.
Sir? So let's quickly look at literature review, like really quickly. Hopefully there will be a sequel to this class, so we can actually look at examples of things that we've discussed, because an hour is not enough to fully explore research, right? So review of literature or literature review is the same thing. So it means looking specifically for research studies dealing with your question or topic. See, don't undergo literature review without like talking to somebody about it, reading extensively, and working with a librarian. Many people underrate, don't even talk to their librarians in school, and librarians are just there in their offices, just chilling, whereas they can be one of the people that can change your life for the good. Librarians are really knowledgeable when it comes to finding the resources based on what you're looking for. Also, if I can, at the end of this class, even if you don't do, I'm going to show you how to get research work, like complete ones from the internet. Should we skip to that, or we should, because I think my time is up already. Sir, is that so? My time is up, right?
Sure, sir.
How many minutes do I have left?
You still have about some 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
You have some 15 minutes to round up, sir.
15 minutes. The time is 9:30, and so by 9:45 I should be out of here. Great, thank you. So should we talk about this? Okay, they're putting some examples in the chat box. Rejoice said a survey of opinion on drug abuse among SS3 students in X school. 1 second, please. 1 second, please excuse me. Thank you. Sorry, my rent expired, so I have to apologies. So a survey of opinion on drug abuse among SS3 students in X school. So who can tell me that's the last question we are considering for variables, so we can quickly move on. Who can tell me the dependent variable and the independent variable? Yeah. Is there any variable at all? Of course there'll be variables, but is there any, in fact? Okay, we'll leave that till the end because we don't have a lot of time. We'll leave that till the end. Please, let's note all these questions. Thank you, Lola. Use librarians. Please use librarians. Please, by all means, use them. Opinion is dependent, SS3 students is dependent. Moving on, let's just move first. We'll consider that later. So research on your topic specifically. Research on your topic that is related. Consider the time period when you are reviewing literature. Don't worry, I will explain how you search. I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to share my screen, open my browser, and then tell you what to type in your chat box, your Google search. Before we go, how many people have heard about Google Scholar? Okay, nobody. Great. So you must look for information. You start broad and then focus down. You critique it. Is it a good study? Moving on. I think this is probably the most important part of the literature review. What a literature review is not. Literature review is not a list of many articles, just like copying and pasting articles down. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. It is not a summary of what you've read. It is a careful choice of articles, studies, guidelines that best helps your research. Not Rejoice, you want to speak, please go ahead. Okay, we'll go on. So now we will not do this today. So what type of research are you doing? This is where when you start your research defense, this is for your research defense or maybe your research proposal. What is your research design? You see some people just come, the research defense. They say, my research is a qualitative, descriptive, correlational, quasi-experimental, randomized, control, meta-analytical, systematic review. And then you'd be like, what are you doing exactly? So what type of research are you conducting? Perhaps if you've started your research, you may want to use this as a guide to know exactly what type of research you're carrying on. So if your research is a quantitative research, it means that you're counting some, or you're measuring some, or you are doing any kind of statistics or averages involving numbers. That's quantitative. Okay, you've heard about Google Scholar, great. So qualitative means, would you interview, get narrative of deep information on a subject, observe what is going on, give richer details about a specific phenomena. You see it in nursing studies, experience of so group in so dash, and then that's qualitative. Quantitative involve numbers, counting, statistical stuff, and averages. Qualitative is much more deeper than qualitative. And then you can do both also. You can do a qualitative and a quantitative study. And then a descriptive research sounds like, if your question sounds like, what is going on here? That's descriptive. Or how many patients have sickle cell? How many patients have high blood pressure? How many patients have so this? That's descriptive. And many people should start with descriptive research. So you use questionnaires, surveys, interviews, observations to collect data. So it asks you questions of who, what, where, when, and how, right? And then a correlational research is one that sounds like, when this happens, is there something else that happens, right? Like for instance, diabetes and obesity, that's a correlational research. You're investigating the correlation between diabetes and obesity. Can someone tell me really quickly, which is the dependent variable and the independent and dependent variable in that is diabetes associated with obesity? Anybody? No. Okay. So experimental. That's when you actually do experiments. Like for instance, what? Say again. Say again, diabetes and obesity. Okay, chat box. Diabetes is dependent. Obesity is independent while diabetes is right. Thank you. I think we have an understanding of obesity of diabetes. Oh God. Of dependent and independent variable. Because obesity can sit down on its own, and diabetes would can cause it. So diabetes is the cause, obesity is the effect, right? Or you don't believe that diabetes can cause obesity, or obesity can cause diabetes? Obesity can cause diabetes. I think this one is more med surg than research. Because obesity can cause diabetes. When somebody is obesity is the cause, diabetes is the effect, and they are interrelated like that. When somebody is obese, have more fatty tissues, the cells are unable to drive in glucose and all of that. So more glucose is retained in the bloodstream, and then you start seeing hyperglycemia, so diabetes, right? So diabetes, obesity can cause diabetes. Also, diabetes can also cause obesity because you are not using up for instance, yeah, of course, it can also cause obesity. Let's not go into med surg now. And diabetes can also cause wasting. I hope you know, because you are breaking down fat cells. For instance, diabetes ketoacidosis. But in a much more logical sense, we would say obesity can cause diabetes. So obesity would be the independent variable. Diabetes is the effect. Ruth Coinsella, that's really correct. Diabetes is the effect. So we've talked about correlation now. Experimental. An example of experimental is, does a preoperative intervention program to increase self-efficacy affect self-care measures post-op? So the pre-op intervention program is the experiment. You are checking to see if it affects self-care. So that's an experimental research. And non-experimental is correlation between HRT use and breast cancer. What is HRT? I think that's clear enough. Non-experimental can also be called quasi-experimental. I think a conceptual framework would work best. Yeah. Work best where? The thing about framework is that you can have both conceptual and theoretical framework in a research work. You can have both. But you may not really define it as say, this is my conceptual framework. We talked about including your conceptual or theoretical framework in your literature review, or just putting it on a separate chapter on its own. There are no hard and fast rules to doing that, except your organization, your institution, your school, your workplaces. Now put it separately. So in this example, HRT and breast CA, HRT use and breast CA, which one is the dependent variable? Which one is the independent variable? Sorry, HRT is hormone replacement therapy. Sorry about that. HRT is hormone replacement therapy. So what is the correlation between hormone replacement therapy used and breast CA? Which one will be the dependent variable? Which one will be the independent variable? HRT is independent because, do you think HRT is the cause or the effect? Breast CA is the effect, yeah. And then HRT use is the course. So we've got two variables in that statement, one independent variable and one dependent variable. Thank you very much for saying that. So we are 4 minutes out. Randomized. Randomized is I'm just picking rishi, like, and then to avoid bias, you're picking, like, if you've got 10 people, maybe you can pick the first 2 and then the next one and then the next 2 and then the next. There are many types of randomization selection methods, like in sampling, but we will not do that today because we don't have that time. So and then there could be retrospective research. Retrospective means going back to look at what happened. Example, review of medical records to examine previous history of cholesterol in myocardial infarction patients. So you are going back to review. This one is really easy to do. So if you are looking for research work, good tip, do a retrospective study. They cannot beat you for doing a retrospective study unless they say don't go and do a prospective study. That one is going into the future or investigating things. So good tip for students that are here, do a retrospective study, go and review medical records. It means that you don't have to go and give out questionnaire. If you've not learned anything today, learn this one. It doesn't mean, it means that you don't have to go back to and start distributing questionnaires to interviewing people in case of a qualitative research. So you can just go and review, go to the medical records department, go and review, ask for consent with the ethics office, and then say you want to review medical records of patients that got MI and things like that. You see, that's like you've gotten your data already. It's a retrospective study, right? Am I communicating? Yes. Cross-sectional, that one collects data at one point in time. What is proposed sampling? Ruth Coinsella, if we have time at the end of the, okay, sorry, that was a direct message, sorry. We're not dealing with that now. 1 second. So moving on, we've got prospective study. That one is forward. For instance, study describing social support and coping mechanisms of women with ovarian CA. That's a prospective study. It means you can collect data in the present. Longitudinal studies over time periods, maybe over like between this time and this time. That's longitudinal. And then advantages of that is that you are able to collect data on the same person over time. It's relatively easy too, because maybe over a group of people over time, it's relatively easy also, but I'll just say do retrospective if you're looking for good work. So we have come to the end of the slide. Resources for getting stuff, getting resources for your research work. I'll show you one now, and you love it, but I need you to put it in the chat box that you are still online. So I don't like sharing this like a lot, because when people don't just value it at the end of the day. Put it in the chat box that you are still online, then I'll show you. Nurse practice leaders, libraries and that, advanced practice nurses who have done research. These are places you can get stuff from. Nurses in master's or doctoral programs, professional contacts within specialty, physicians, whether you like it or not, doctors are your friends. If you are looking for research work in nursing and then you are only searching nursing archives, you're on your own, you may not see anything. But if you go to medicine has long existed before nursing, whether you like it or not. So they have like archives that are very, very well defined. Like they have studies on virtually every disease, every cause, so you can get literature reviews from physicians, from their libraries and stuff. Research and development department, if you've got one. And the one I will show you now, immediately I enter. Okay, you're still online. I've got like 5 people online. Great. So these are my own referencing. We cannot do referencing today. Hopefully next time we can do referencing, because it's really late now. We can do referencing. Hopefully next time. So I'll show you one now. If you can still see my screen, please put it in the chat box that I can still see my screen. So I've closed that stuff. I've closed that stuff. Close that stuff. Close that stuff. Close that stuff. Close that one. This is my email. Sorry, you have to see all of that stuff. So if you have your phone with you, go to www.unn.edu.ng. That's University of Nigeria's website. If you are there, please put it in the chat box. Okay, you don't have to put it in the chat box. Unmute yourself and say you are there. Go to University of Nigeria's website. Oh my God, my screen is flickering for some reason. Go to University of Nigeria's website. Are you there? Can you see my screen? Can you see University of Nigeria's website on my screen? Sir, can you see it?
Yes, can say so.
Okay, you can see. Can you see where my mouse is? That is saying openedu.resources. Can you see it? If you look at that top part, that green bar on top, you see home, you see academic, you see administration, you see libraries, campuses, registry, alumni, CDEL, and then there is openedu.resources. If you click on that, can you see it? Okay, Ruth Coinsara is there also. If you can see the openedu.resources, please tell me so I will know we are on the same page. I'm waiting on Jesus Christ. Are we there yet? Okay, great. So when you click on that openedu.resources, that part, you're going to see a page like this, University of Nigeria Open Educational Resources, OER. You see discover 22,828 free and open educational resources. In this place, you can get research work on topics that have been done, like complete ones, not abstracts, not journal pages or anything. So if you go to report, theses, and dissertations, can you see it on my screen? Report, thesis, dissertation. Can you see it, please? Huh?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
okay.
we can. I can see that.
Report, thesis, and dissertation.
I can see that very clearly.
If you click on it, you're going to see like loads of resources. On the side part, you can see select a category. I'm going to go ahead and select medical sciences because nursing is in medical sciences, and press on the subcategory is nursing, right? Is that nursing here? Sorry. Okay, health sciences. Yeah, health sciences. If you go to the category of health sciences and technology, you would see, and then the subcategory is nursing sciences. And then you press search, nursing sciences. You see all these research work, they are complete ones available to view and download. So when many people text me and say, please, I need research work on this. So this is what I do. I go to websites, not just University of Nigeria. University of Nigeria is just an example of one of the websites. You can go to any university's website and look in their open educational resources and search for theses on the topic you are looking for. If I download, can you see the first topic there? Modifiable factors, risk factors with essential hypertension, a case control study in tertiary, blah, 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 blah. You can view or download. If I view it, it's going to open as PDF. Okay, this one says it's only an abstract, but if you click on another one, you probably find a full research work. These ones are abstract anyways, but that's an example. If you go to the University of Lagos website, Unilag, this is Unilag's open resource stuff, their own open educational stuff. This is their own. Maybe I will send the links to side class, and then we can all go to the links to access things like that. I don't know if this has helped you, but it always helps me. So I don't have to. You can use Google Scholar also. Can you see University of Lagos repository, faculty of that, faculty of that, faculty of that. Nursing should be in clinical sciences or basic medical sciences, depending on school. Wow, useful. I know, right? The Department of Nursing, they only got like 19 publications. So you can see things like that. And this one are Nigerian based, like they are Nigerian studies. So you don't have to be looking for studies that were done in the US that doesn't apply to Nigeria stuff. So you see full articles. For instance, if you go to University of Ghana, University of Ghana is UG something. So University of Ghana, if you search their university, can you see my screen? I'm searching University of Ghana repository. I hope this is helping somebody. Repository. There are other ways to get. Can you see in the first page, you see thesis, masters, research articles, doctorals. Click on thesis. Theses are like our own projects. Those are long essays or dissertations. Don't be searching online and then somebody will be asking you to be paying 500,000 naira for getting. Can you see? This ones will even list it for you and tell you the number of pages that are there. Don't click on doctoral because you may not find it useful. If you are BSc or seeking to get BSc, click on masters. You will find great articles in masters, and then go to College of Health Sciences or Basic and Applied Sciences, School of Pharmacy, School of blah, blah, School of Nursing. You even see School of Nursing in University of Ghana, School of Nursing, and then you click on that, and then you start seeing great topics that you can even use. And then the studies are really recent: 2020 September, 2020 October, 2020 July. Look at the second one: adherence to essential newborn care among nurses and midwives in Tamale metropolis in Ghana. If I click on that, it opens it up and then it shows me, do I want to down view or open? So if I view or open, so it has opened as PDF on my screen, is loading at the moment. And then I have access to somebody's full research work, not illegally, very legally. Some lecturers in some schools don't even know this, but somehow they think people are stealing stuff from people illegally, whereas these things are available online. Can you see the person's declaration? Can you see the abstract? Can you see the dedication? So this can even point you to, these are published work on their repositories. So it's going to help you, guide you to create your own stuff. Let's see if I would have taken a look at the theoretical framework in this study so we can use it to study, but our time is fast spent. I hope you have learned something tonight. If you haven't, maybe I'll send the slide, but I hope we've truly learned something tonight. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you found this useful. Bye-bye. Hey, wait. I still have the question that I asked in the beginning, that what's it called? 200 million naira donated and things like that. What would be your answer? Think about it. And what is orphan effect? Orphan effect, individual modifiers and aspect of being in response. That's very correct. Okay, Oluwatobi Yekin has won something too. I don't know what she has won something. We'll get to the admin later on to contact you with your prizes. Fruit coin seller 10,000 naira. Who else? Lola 5,000 naira, and then Oluwatobi Yekin has won something by the special grace of God. So good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow. So, please, before you go, really, I must say this. Thank you so much, sir. Really, this is I think I should give 2 persons to just give a testimonial about this class. Just 2 people. I think Consola followed right from the beginning. Let me just give you an opportunity to say something about this class. Have you gained value? Have you added knowledge? What are those things have you really gotten value, or you just wasted the 2 hours you've spent inside class? I would like to hear you.
Okay. I would like to thank the host
Yeah, Ruth, Consola, are you with me?
for tonight. It's actually helping me because right now, yes, because right now I'm writing my project and I found this very, very useful. Thank you very much.
Wow. Great to know that. Okay, thank you, Consola. And I would like to give one more person an opportunity to just say what they feel about this class tonight. Have you gained value? Have you learned something new? I personally have learned something new. Really, believe me. But let me just give one more person to talk. One more person an opportunity to speak. Anybody, if you want to say something, just signify and unmute yourself in 10 seconds. Our time is really fast spent. Is there anybody that would like to say something? All right.
Yes, sir.
If there's no one really, I want to
Sir,
say.
there's nobody.
Okay,
Good
okay,
evening.
yeah, I can hear you.
Thank
Go
you
ahead.
very much. I find it very useful. Me, thank you. Luatobi, thank you. This is so good. As in, you guys really trashed it out.
Good evening, sir.
Wow, wow.
Good
Thank you so
evening.
much. Great to know that you got the value.
Good evening, sir.
All right. Please go ahead. I can hear you.
Sir, good evening.
Yeah,
Oh.
good evening. Yeah, please,
Sir, thank you very
please
much,
go
sir.
ahead
We are
and
so
speak. I
grateful.
can hear you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We are so grateful.
Wow,
Hello, sir. Sir, are you listening, sir?
wow, great,
I'm listening
great.
to you.
I'm glad to know that.
Okay, sir. We
Okay,
just
yeah,
want
I'm
to
with you.
there are plenty on that rejoice screen, no? So we want to say thank you very much, sir. There are some things we actually did not understand, so but now we at least we understand it better. So thank you very much, sir. We are so grateful. Good night, sir.
Oh, great. All right, thank you so much. So before you go, there are some announcements you need to listen to. So just wait till we end this question. Really, I'm really glad that we all got value. Thanks for the feedback. Really, I would like to say a big thank you to our resource person, knows Adeyemi Olagunju. Really, thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate you for dishing out this invaluable information for free at no cost. Come on, that's something huge. Thank you so much, sir. You've really spilled a lot of things that ordinarily, if we remain in class throughout 3 years in nursing school, you might not get to hear about it at all. An example is this free online resources. One thing most of us know is Google Scholar, and some of us doesn't even know how to use the Google Scholar. We just go online and then search. We search with a term or with a keyword that is not even relevant to what we are looking for, and we begin to struggle and then we get frustrated and we start lamenting. But really, you open our eyes to seeing other places where we can get resources that could be instrumental to our research project. Thank you so much, sir. And apart from the fact that you dished us some knowledge in this class tonight, come on, you even gifted out some cash to some people. I think I'll meet you in your DM for my own gift, sir. I don't know. I'll meet you in your DM, sir. Am I permitted? I need to get my own share of the.
You are welcome, sir. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. All right. So now let me quickly make this announcement. We couldn't finish this class. There are still some things we need to address, like very important stuff. One of those things is referencing. Referencing is very key. In fact, referencing is one of the things that delay people with rounding up with their research project and the supervisor keep projecting their work and all. So referencing is one thing we've not talked about. And also, there is this later aspect of your research work when it comes to your data analysis and your chapter 5, where you do your summary, your conclusion, your recommendation for further studies and all. So these things are still on ground that we've not really trashed out. And that will lead me to saying that we're going to be having a part 2 of this class. We're going to be having is anyone excited to hear that? If you're excited to hear that, just show some excitement in the chat box. There will be a part 2 of this class. And what we will be looking at in the part 2 of this class is the referencing, like I've said, your summary, how to write your abstract, how to write your recommendations and all those things, your in-text referencing, reference list, if you need to add bibliography and all those things, you're going to be looking at it in the second class, in the part 2 of this class. Also, we're going to be looking at now for people still in school, towards the final year, 300 level or 400 level Department of Nursing students preparing to write their research projects or preparing to write the NMCN exam, you will notice that we were given a template by the Nursing and Midwifery Council that highlighted everything you are supposed to do in your research. There's a template sent from the Nursing and Midwifery Council that highlights everything you are expected to do from your chapter 1, your chapter 2, your chapter 3, your chapter 4, and 5. So in the next class, in the part 2 of this class, which we're trusting God for grace to come up soon, maybe sometimes next week or upper week. So in the part 2 of this class, we're going to be considering this template because, the exam in front of us is not a Midwifery Council exam. So we have to adhere to the guideline. So we're going to be breaking down this guideline, what the requirements, what you are expected to write, and how you are expected to write it. I'm going to be breaking it down so that it can be helpful for you in organizing your research work. It's going to be very helpful. So we will, the date and the time for the part 2 of this session will be communicated to us on the side class official platform. So please stay tuned and watch out for the next episode of this class. And for those that missed this class, for some of your friends that couldn't attend, please, the recording of this class will be available shortly. Within the next 24 hours, the recording of this class will be available and it will be uploaded on a YouTube channel. The link will be sent to the official platform as well. So please do well to send this link to your friends because they will really gain a lot like you have gained too. And please do well to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get notifications of new videos. Now, from this moment on, you won't only find side class videos on that YouTube channel. You will also find some educational resources that could be helpful and instrumental to your success in nursing school and in your nursing career in general. You will always find it on that YouTube channel. So please do well to subscribe. If you want to search on YouTube, just search for Oluwatobi Adewumi on YouTube and please make sure to subscribe. Also, another thing I would like to say is if you've really gained value and you've added to your knowledge in side class, you have to do evangelism for side class. You have to do evangelism for side class. Now we are 10 in class today, although at the point we reached, I think about 14 or 15 or 16 or thereabouts in class. So we need more people to attend class. We need more people to, join us in class so that they can also get this valuable information they're getting. So please go to your status, go to your Instagram timeline, Instagram story, Instagram reel, Instagram, your Twitter handle, your WhatsApp status, your Facebook. Take a screenshot on your phone right now. Take a screenshot. Just say something good. Say something, one thing you've learned, and tag side class on your status. Let more people come into side class and learn as well. The purpose of this class is to, expose to us the things that you can never be taught in class. No tutor has that luxury of time to come to class and keep giving you some tips that will be instrumental to you. Whereas these tips are as important as the other academic activities you are engaged in. So please do well to share and do well to broadcast side class on your status. Anytime you have our class coming up, upload the flyers, upload the links, allow people to join, and so that we can all be blessed, we can all increase our knowledge, and we'll be fine. Once again, I want to appreciate everyone for coming to side class tonight. I'm really glad and excited. Really, really, really. I'm glad. I appreciate everyone. Our speaker once again was Ade Emiola. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And I hope that when we call on you next class, I hope should our participants be expecting you? Should our participants be expecting you, sir, for the part 2 of this class?
Hopefully, thank you very much. Hopefully, thank you very much. We'll be around. I enjoyed every bit of the class too.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. We really, really look forward to having you again for the part 2 of this class, and our participants are also excited that we'll be having you once more. And for the giveaway, thank you so much once again. Really, 10K, 5K at this time in Nigeria, man. That's something huge. Thank you so much. Really, I appreciate it. And once again, I want to say thank you for participating. I think this is a good place to end the class. We've spent a lot of time already. We're supposed to use 1 hour. This is 2 hours. Thank you so much for participating. And I will say, have a wonderful night rest all. For people that want the giveaway, we will get across to you through your DM on WhatsApp. We'll get across to you shortly. Thank you so much once again, everyone, and please have a wonderful night rest. If you have any question or clarification, you can please chat any of the admin on the official site class page for any question, for any clarification on what you've learned today or what you would like us to talk about in subsequent site class. Please do well to chat any of the admin on the site class official platform, and then your request will be attended to. Thank you so much once again, everyone, and please have a wonderful night rest.